Hi guys, Cameron here, and welcome to another episode of the Fall in the Necromancer campaign. This week we are going over the Capture of the Grey Wizard scenario. It's one that actually we really enjoyed playing. It was great fun, and I'm glad that kind of going from 2 weeks ago where it was a very disappointing campaign scenario to this one, it's blown me out the water and has completely kind of made me enthusiastic for this again. Not that my enthusiasm was dropping, but it certainly wasn't there completely. But what is this? This is a rundown of all the campaign scenarios playing. You will see some gameplay. There's a full playlist for the Fall of the Necromancer book, and you can see absolutely everything that is in this and everything if you go check the playlist. But this one, Capture of the Grey Wizard. If I hold that up there, you will see exactly kind of what the scenario is meant to look like. And you can also now just see Doggo. She has come to make an appearance. But yes, Capture the Grey Wizard. This is played on a 3-foot by 2-foot table, which is quite different to what we normally have played on, but it's quite good. The board represents the ruins of Dorgal Dur. It should be covered in crumbling ruins with as many stairways and walkways as you can muster. The area within 6 inches of the western edge of the board is a chasm, and there should be a 3-inch wide bridge spanning it to give Gandalf and Thrain a means of escape. So we actually managed to make these kind of chasms and lots of ruins. That was pretty easy, and I'm very kind of happy and glad with the way that it turned out. So yeah, it certainly works out quite good. Starting positions. So the good player deploys Gandalf and Thrain in base contact with each other, anywhere within 12 inches of the eastern board edge. The evil player then deploys Azog and 4 Hunter Orcs anywhere within 6 inches of the eastern board edge. The remaining evil player will become remaining evil players' models will become available as the game goes on. So there's actually quite a few warriors and whatnot in this scenario. Objective: Thrain and Gandalf must escape from Dorgal Dur, though the powers within are trying to ensure that they are unable to leave the confines of the fortress. So it's escaping, and Gandalf and Thrain gotta run away. The game lasts until one player completes their objectives. The good player wins if both Gandalf and Thrain escape the board edge via the western side. The evil player wins immediately if Gandalf is slain. In the event that Gandalf escapes but Thrain is slain, then it is a draw. Okay, now with this, we were both very close to kind of winning our games as good, and you'll see what happens, but kind of both of us were just pipped at the post, unfortunately. Special rules. A flash of light. During the first turn of the game, the evil models are treated as being under the effects of the immobilize magic power. So that means that they cannot move, and that's not necessarily a bad thing considering how they are deployed, which is literally 6 inches apart. Bring the bridge crashing down. During the move phase, if Gandalf is on the bridge, which is at the very western board edge, and that's a 3-inch kind of chasm gap thing that they've got, he may attempt to smite it. Roll a d6. On a 4+, Gandalf has blasted a section from the bridge. Mark the bridge as shown. Mark the bridge to show a 1-inch wide chasm spanning the bridge directly behind Gandalf's base. Models wishing to pass the chasm will need to pass a jump test. So you can destroy part of the bridge, which means that the evil models then have to jump over it, which is quite good. Neither of us got round to doing that, unfortunately, but it was a nice thing. A nice wee touch to have. General of Dorgal Dur. If Azog moves off the board, then the evil player will instead bring the Necromancer into play on any 2d6 roll on a 7+ rather than a 12. Now, that's something that neither of us did either, but I considered it in my game, but we never actually got round to it. The Legions of Dorgal Dur. At the end of each evil move phase, the evil player rolls 2d6 and consults the chart below to see the reinforcements enter the table. Models that enter the board in this way may do so from any point on the northern, southern, or eastern board edge via the rules for reinforcements. The only exception is the Necromancer who, when he arrives, may be placed anywhere on the board at least 3 inches away from Gandalf or Thrain. The Necromancer may not move any further that turn after he has arrived. Should you roll on the chart cause you to exceed the number of models you have remaining to enter the board, instead treat the result as a 12. Once the Necromancer has entered the battlefield, do not make any further rolls on the chart. And then we've got the reinforcement chart. So when you roll your 2d6, on a 2, so snake eyes, reinforcements don't turn up. No reinforcements at all. On a 3 to 6 on the chart, it's D3 Hunter Orcs. On a 7 to a 9, it's 1 Hunter Orc on Fel Warg. On a 10 and 11, it's D3 Hunter Orcs on Fel Wargs. On a 12, the Necromancer of Dor Guldur shows up himself. Then you have got the participants. Good, you have Gandalf the Grey and Thrain the Broken. That's it, only the 2 models. And for evil, you have the possibility, because not all will necessarily come on, it depends on your reinforcement, but you have the possibility of the Necromancer of Dor Guldur, Azog, 6 Hunter Orcs on Fel Wargs, and 12 Hunter Orcs. Now, that is the scenario, and it is very hard for Thrain and Gandalf to escape, but it was certainly really good fun. What we'll do now is I will close this book up and we will jump to the scenario and you can see the exact gameplay of what happened and see how we did. So let's jump to that now. So as you can see, we have got a lot of terrain on this board. So on the left hand side is the bridge and on the right hand side is this western board edge. We've got Azog and a couple of Hunter Orcs with Gandalf and Thrain the Broken. And then you can see our chasms just there with the bridge. This was set up so that there was as much terrain as possible really, and we just thought that it would work quite well. With Thrain and Gandalf running away, Gandalf Sorceress blasting Azog to try and knock him out. Just thought that it might work. I am playing Gandalf at this point, and Matthew, my opponent, as you can see, is playing Azog. So he stands back up, moves us 3 inches, and by this point Gandalf and Thrain are legging it down the board, trying their goddamn best to get there. However, some orcs are coming in. We've got Hunter Orc just there, and then we've got one on Warg just there, while Gandalf and Thrain are finally kind of getting down the board. They're getting away, but there is going to be this trap just down here on this chasm where these Hunter Orcs are going to be laying wait, and another Hunter Orc and Warg coming in. With Thrain moving 5 and Gandalf moving 6, it is a bit of a struggle. Do you leave Gandalf waiting with him, or do you run the 2 down and go for the go for the draw, or what? It was kind of just what do we do, but I kind of kept them together so it was totally fine and they could kind of protect each other. But as you can see, models moving up. Azog didn't leave the board to get the Necromancer to come in, but it was just kind of one of these things, and that was fine. So going down the board, making sure that kind of they can be seen and how it's all working, and this is where kind of it started to not potentially go too well for me. The bridge started to get closed off and orcs just kept on swarming and coming down. As you can see, things were getting killed. There was a couple of challenges and it was quite well, and it wasn't too bad. I did do a lot of killing, to be fair. Quite a bit of magic was going off and that was quite nice, but it did end up that it was a tough struggle. And as you can see, we're just getting a little bogged down here. This being able to reinforce from any board edge apart from the eastern is a little bit strange potentially, but at the same point I totally understand it and totally get it, and it is very good, but it does mean that you do get this ability to kind of bog someone down on the far edge where they need to escape. So a few things happening. Azog coming round, and if you remember, Azog needs 3s to wound a hero, so he charges straight into Gandalf. Gandalf did have Terrifying Aura up, but he did make his charge anyway, and that was channeled, so it was 3d at 6 rather than 2d6, and then you take away the highest. And yes, the kind of fights were happening. We weren't too sure when Gandalf was going to get slaughtered, but we kind of knew it was going to happen. And it was just a bit of a slugfest down the bottom, which was quite nice. It was good to get a bit of fighting going off. But I rolled here and was failing a few of my fates, unfortunately. And I think it was Gandalf left on 1 wound with no fate, even after those rerolls for his Ring of Power. But more and more and more orcs kept on coming in. Gandalf and Thrain still alive, luckily, but getting bogged down. And as you can see, they're now bogging down this bridge. And even if I managed to get there and do a smite, it was going to be tough. And it was just kind of, how do I get killed here? And how much damage can I do to essentially prevent it from happening? But it didn't really work out that way. It was unfortunate, but kind of I did lose the scenario as the good player. And it is a very good scenario, to be fair. Thoroughly enjoyable, really, really nice. There we go, Gandalf going down to 1 wound just there. Really, really nice in terms of the layout and what all is like. As you can see, we've got a mix mash of terrain. Necromancer finally coming on the board just there. But this mix mash is kind of just how it is. Thrain dying, and I knock over Azog, obviously, because of just the way it is. And then we've got Azog against Gandalf here. But great scenario overall. We thought it was really, really fun. And like I say, after the kind of disappointment of the previous one, it was just kind of a bit naff. And that is my Gandalf killed. So he comes off the board and we re-rack. And as you can see, this is now Matthew playing as Gandalf and Thrain. I'm playing as Azog. I've got the same terrain set up, obviously, because we're playing at the same day, literally one game after the other. And it is something that does mean that we can learn from. So I was considering running Azog off the table so I could get the Necromancer in quicker, but I wanted to get that Azog kind of striking ability on the 3+. I thought it was going to be a much bigger thing than it kind of had been. And to be fair, it wasn't a bad thing, but I managed to surround Thrain just here. And Gandalf with Azog, we were rolling off just to see who would do what damage and how it all works, so it was a bit naff. If I remember correctly, Matthew was spending his might like it was going out of fashion, and that did work in my favour because it meant that Azog could do kind of various things with dice roll and mighting things up. And it was just kind of one of these, again, slugfests on how quickly can Azog kill Gandalf. I continued on moving round. Matthew, I don't think, made it as far onto the bridge as I did, but he still made it to pretty much the exact same location. And in the end, I did win the scenario as the evil player. So it does mean going into the final battle, evil does have a bonus on this campaign. But it was a great scenario. We really enjoyed it. We're really happy with how this worked, how it came out, what was happening. I don't really have a problem with any of the rules, and neither does Matthew, luckily enough. So it was quite nice that it was just going back to a scenario that worked really, really well and with no problems kind of going into or on it or anything like that. It was just nice rolling dice and everything being perfect. And I think this may well have been the striking blow, I can't remember, for Gandalf. And he does, yes, fall over, and that is game. So there we go then. That is the third last scenario in this book, The Capture of the Grey Wizard. Next week, we are doing Make Haste to Dorgal Doer. Now, on the most part, there is campaign bonuses, and what you have is you have a campaign bonus from the exploration of Dorgal Doer. So let me read those to you. Gotta love some merch that I don't have in my description because I don't sell it. So this comes from the exploration of Dorgal Doer. If the good player wins that scenario, in the Make Haste to Dorgal Doer scenario, if a Mirkwood spider hits Radagast with his webbing, roll a d6. On a roll of a natural 6, the shot misses and Radagast suffers no effects from being webbed. If evil had won that, in the Make Haste to Dorgal Doer scenario, Radagast starts the game with only a single point of might. That's real nasty, actually. Now, Exploration of Dorgal Doer, that was the one with the Witch King and Radagast, and that was the extremely disappointing one. If you want to check that video out, you certainly can. And with that, both times Radagast won, pretty much no problems. So we will be rolling 6s if we get hit, hopefully. We can see, and then that'll lead us on to the last scenario of the whole campaign after that. So check back next week to see the Make Haste Dorgal Doer scenario, and we will see how it goes. But let me know what you thought of this scenario. Thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help me out a hell of a lot, and my analytics are constantly going up, and I really do appreciate that. I feel awful having to say it, but it genuinely does help. And also don't forget to use my affiliate links in the description below. They really do help me out, and then what happens with that money is it allows me to buy some really good things, such as this book, and it's really, really appreciated because it means I can give back to the channel. So thank you for watching, take care, and bye-bye. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and use my affiliate links in the description below. Take care, and bye-bye.